Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Grumman Pilot's YouTube channel. And today we're going to look at Burlington, Iowa, which was the home of the convention for AYA in 2008. And there's the river swelling its banks, blocking bridges, making it hard to get to by land. By air, it was not a problem. There's a picture of the airport. And here's another one from coming in from the eastern side, taking a look at it. And again, Burlington, Iowa, 2008 for AYA. And we had a lot of people show up. And of course, as in any airport activity, there's always going to be food and there's going to be meals out in the tent. And people are going to have a good chance to socialize. Now, here's Carolyn Brown pushing Greg Sincock. Wants him to go in and eat lunch or get out of her way, whichever it's going to work out to be. And then we also take a picture of the Cockpit Cool graduates that Fred Cocosta did every year. And here are the ladies and gentlemen who passed the Cockpit Cool course that year. And of course, there were good restaurants in town and you could go. We went to this one who served us a catering one day for lunch, not the place to go for dinner because we waited 2.5 hours for a meal that was not very good. And of course, Luann and I were doing door prizes once again, and we had some surprises with the door prizes, and we'll be getting to that in just a minute. Of course, there are all the other volunteers with parking and all the reindeer games and where people go and keeping lists of everything and scores on everything. And of course, lots of people standing around discussing what they're going to do before they do it, because safety is always first in our mind. We don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to hurt any airplanes, and we don't want to leave any damage to the airport. So again, just shots of folks standing around, getting ready to do an event and getting briefed completely before they do. We've all seen this before. And it's not unusual to see airplanes moving, and here's a nice looking cheetah. Very good paint job, lots of spars and starkles and good coming with colors and green and golds, and the guy's flying it. So again, just saying hi, and as you can see, their badges are blowing in the prop wash in the airplane. Also, too, this was a server a spare server, and I sent it to the AYA to help out with their mail problems. You can't send a hard drive to Canada, but you can send a machine. And again, another meal. There's Jimmy Candiletti. You normally don't see him with an empty plate on the lower right, but again, everybody had a good time at the lunches. And as we mentioned, the Mississippi River was at flood stage, and you can see just how close it is to the bridge. And as I say, several of the bridges across the Mississippi were closed. Luann and I had to go 80 miles to our north just to find a bridge that we crossed to get on the right side of the river, the western side, to get to the airport. And of course, there's our ground boss team and their little cart with a follow me. Now, as all things we say, we have door prizes, and here's Garner winning a door prize. But Garner doesn't know what he has won yet. Now, for those of you who know Garner, you know what a big practical joker Garner is. Now, Garner, many years ago, rode a motorcycle. Then he had an accident and he hurt his ankle. And he promised his wife he would never ride another bike. And we decided that since Garner loved motorcycles, I talked to Minnie a lot that year and got her permission to give Garner a motorcycle. I had a bike I wasn't riding anymore. It was in really good shape, fun bike, and gave it to Garner, and here he is down the road still riding it. So again, Garner got a door prize he wasn't expecting, and here's Piper the deer down at Fletcher examining the bike and getting a meal from Minnie. So please enjoy. And as you fly around the area, every once in a while near the river, we would see a grass strip just like this. Not flooded, but you can see it's very close to it. But again, a nice strip for tail draggers and such. And here are some folks from the Hesses. They were part of the 2004 convention and proudly wearing their shirts from that year. And of course, then for all the van drivers to help recognize who they were, that year we had tiaras. And everybody who drove a van got a tiara, and we took a lot of tiara pictures. So we're going to let you look at these, and we'll be back at the end of the tiara shots. And we also have a very special first timers event where for basically an hour we explain to the first timers, people who've never been to convention before, what's going to happen at convention. And it's a well attended event and people really like it. And we have a bunch of pictures here of all the first timers from 2008. So please enjoy these and I'll see you on the other side. And in any gathering of airplanes and people, there's always a lot of time spent on the ramp going to look at everybody else's airplane, seeing what's nice, seeing what's new, what you might want to have. And of course, people get queued up for all the reindeer games. And while you're out there on the ramp, you can look at some really pretty airplanes. And here's Jimmy Candeletti's Tiger. He had come to his first convention in 2007 in Glens Falls and spent an entire year talking to me on the phone as he took his airplane apart and redid everything on it: engine, paint, interior, glass. And as you'll see, he got an appropriate prize for all of that. And of course, then there's always the fun reindeer games. And here we have the egg toss. It's an easy game. You just want to be careful how you catch and how you throw the egg. because the eggs are raw and they will break. So I'll let you enjoy this little bit of fun, and I'll see you on the other side. And here's Jimmy sitting in his nice, pretty airplane looking all nonchalant. In reality, when we see the front of the airplane with Jimmy in front of it, look what all he won. Best four-placed, best exterior, best interior, best in show. Quite an accomplishment. Jimmy still paints airplanes occasionally and still does complete restorations, prefers the 79s. So I'll let you enjoy this picture of Jimmy and his winning airplane. Again, they are works of art. He's been known to paint the side of an airplane, not like it, strip it, and do it again. He's a perfectionist. And some perennial favorites from Oregon, we have Mark and Kelly Matthews. They fly November 2 Echo Echo all over the country, and they've been back and forth many of time. And then, of course, Jimmy and I being A&Ps, when Phil Wadsworth had a problem with his Cirrus, we got to go out on the hot ramp and we got to fix it for him. So it worked out pretty good. The nice thing about fixing Phil's airplane is the following year for Red Deer, we flew in early and stayed with Phil and Sonia, and then we transferred to the hotel for the convention, and then we flew home commercial because of schedule problems. But again, Cirrus, not a hard plane to work on, just surprisingly that we were having to do something down on one of the wheels. There was an AD out on the brakes. This was not a brake problem. But we fixed the flat tire on the airplane and got him ready to go again. And here's another picture of the swollen river and some barges working their way up. Tugboats do a great job of moving the barges and the freights on the river. Further on in here, we'll have a picture of a train going by, almost being flooded, but it's far enough away from the river it wasn't an issue. Again, there was a lot of water around that year. And then here's a picture from inside of one of the aircraft as Phil's showing off his Cirrus, and you can see the oxygen lines hanging down for the folks in the back. And then here's a picture of Jimmy Candeletti's winning aircraft taxiing on the ramp. And we're going to have some more pictures of like 9925 Lima, two places. It taxis on the ramp, and it's beautiful red, white, and blue colors. And then, of course, we have a picture of Nigel. And here's a shot of Precision Taxi as they're going through the course trying to break the eggs with the nose wheel. A little bit more difficult than it sounds like. And then, of course, here is the Grumpy One shirt wearing that we all got that year so that we could honor a Grumpy One from England for the Grumpy Gang. And there we all are wearing our shirts for him. And then some more shots of Precision Taxi. And again, it's not a fun event, but it's a fun spectator sport when you stand around and watch people try to go. And then here's the race lineup getting ready to go for the folks that are going to run. Greg Erickson's airplane right there in the forefront. But again, and here's your race team. Jimmy and Luann raced that year in the Lou Presti race. She got the t-shirt. I did not because she went with Jimmy. I stayed on the ground to do other stuff. And then here's just a group of some of the relief group for going to get water and other stuff in the pickup truck and bring it all down so we can keep everybody hydrated. And of course, rig pre-flight is always a fun event because we hide certain things on the airplane, make it difficult for you to find. Winning score wins by finding the most items, and you get penalties if you find stuff wrong. And then again, another picture. Anytime you flew around the area, you couldn't help but see the swollen Mississippi. And of course, the ground boss and his little follow me sign running around making sure that traffic is directed properly and we don't have any collisions on the ground. And of course, in some of the competitions, like I'll take part in the rig pre-flight, and I'm laying down on the ground with my little notepad and making notes on what I'm finding as I go along. You don't know how many there are, so you just keep going until you figure it all out. The other nice thing that happens is you get to socialize. After convention that year, Carolyn Brown and Greg Sincock and I went to Ames, Iowa, and went to Rube's Steakhouse and grilled our own steaks. And Ames, Iowa is an interesting town because you have the Rube Stockyard, Rube Slaughterhouse, Rube Meat Market, and then the Rube Restaurant. So you know it's fresh and coming right on down the line. And then here's a shot of one of our guest speakers during the event, giving us information that we might need to know. And then, of course, here's Steve Roberts, best firewall forward and best two-place airplane. So congratulations, Steve. Everybody, 2 and 4 place airplanes, men and women, all have a chance. And again, what would another picture of the river be without having water near the banks? And you can just see how high it is. Be interesting to see what the river level normally runs at. And then here's a train running on the tracks, and it's right near the airport and the interstate. You could hear it go by. And so here's another shot of Jimmy and his winning plane. He still flies it, and he still does that kind of work with his aircraft. So if you need a paint job, check with Jimmy. His schedule stays pretty big. And then here's Bob and Irene Arnold, November 9801, a cheetah converted to a tiger. Rest in peace, those two. And then here's David and Sue Beeman and their puppy at the time. And of course, 3 souls on board when they flew like that. And then finally, we have a picture of the entire Blackman clan. Ken, Grant, Jan, Tamara, and Tiffany, the first baby. Grant would eventually have four babies with her. And then a final shot of the swollen river in downtown Burlington. So, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you found all this useful and informative. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day flying your Grumman.